You know Bungie's gonna fuck this one up, don't you? This has the signature of Bungie fucking up, and you know the shit is gonna hit the fan one way or another, like a YouTube order having to go fuck himself. Now, the biggest challenge, besides convincing people that the Taken King is worth $40 fucking that Bungie's gonna face with this DLC is what do you do about the guns and armor in the game? How do you keep players happy with the gear that you've earned and that you're gonna earn in the future? Because it's a fine line between what's gonna piss people off and what will keep them entertained. Now, regardless of what Bungie does, it's gonna be the wrong decision. Guaranteed, guaranteed, they will piss someone off, because knowing Bungie, they will not attempt to please both sides. What they'll do is they'll screw over one side of the fan base and hope they're pleasing the larger majority of the fan base. Meanwhile, I'm over here sitting down with my ideas that'll please both, and hopefully Bungie will pay some goddamn attention to me for once in a while. Now, the persisting, unconfirmed rumor that comes mainly from Reddit and other sources is that Bungie isn't going to allow our year 1 gear to ascend to the new level cap of the Taken King. All that shit that we're earning right now will stay at these levels, preventing us from using it in the future. So my level 365 Fatebringer, Black Hammer, Gallahorn will not raise to level 500 or whatever the new cap will be. I'm just going to go with level 50 as an assumption in this video. Now, some people like me are absolutely going to hate that shit, and there are other idiots on the forum who actually encourage this kind of bullshit. And the logic is that we should play with new guns and not be attached to the same old guns. Why keep using the Fatebringer when we can use the new Amalon weapons or whatever the fuck these shits are going to be called? Now, me personally, I don't mind if a franchise eventually phases out weapons. I know that in World of Nerdcraft, people are going to point to the fact that the armors and weapons of that game are constantly being outdated if you buy more expansion packs or whatever. But as anyone with a brain will understand, Destiny is not World of Nerdcraft. It's not even close. It wants to be paid like Warcraft. It has elements from Warcraft, but it's nowhere near the scale of that game. Not to mention the fact that their expansion packs come out every few years, while Activision has Bungie pumping out the remaining portions of their missing game just 1 year later. Meanwhile, a game like Mass Effect, yes, my favorite comparison, which brought your character decisions from one game over to another, managed to resolve their armory issue. Game number 1 had a clusterfuck of weapons, pretty similar to what Destiny has right now. Many of the weapons were essentially broken down because they were fucking pointless, similar to what Destiny has with our blue and green weapons. However, Game 2 refined all the weapons, and Game 3 perfected all the weapons. But the main comparison here is that your progress from Mass Effect 1 went all the way with you through Mass Effect 3, and who knows, maybe Mass Effect Andromeda or whatever the fuck's gonna be in that game. Destiny will be carrying over progress as confirmed by Deej and Luke the Asshat Smith, and I don't have an issue with Destiny 2 refining the weapons and eliminating the inventory that we have now. But with the Taken King, this is only a DLC pack. It's not a full game. As much as Bungie wants to call this shit a full game, it's not a new disc experience. It's just adding on to the limited shit we already fucking have. DLC packs should not nullify the content of your original product. It should be expanded upon. It shouldn't devalue what you already have in the game, especially if a second disc-based game is on the horizon in 2016. The other major issue with Year 1 players versus Year 2 players is someone who buys the extra deluxe fuck you in the asses if you played since day 1 edition. They're gonna get all that content we paid full price for. However, if Bungie were to bump up all the level caps to the higher numbers, what will be the point of playing all that Year 1 shit? Why would a Year 2 player venture into the Vault of Glass or Crota if they can just power rank to try and get to Oryx? What would be the point of going through levels 20 to 34 if they could just bypass all of that shit and get right to level 50 without that grind? Why would they bother with game modes that reward them with very little, just for the fuck of it? Why pay for all that Year 1 content if there's no point in experiencing it? Why power level to get into trials if the rewards are only going to be a level 365 damage weapon when you need a 500 level damage weapon just to be able to compete in the future trials? So here's the solution to Bungie's gun problems. First of all, there is no question that exotics are going to be upgraded. I have no doubt in my mind Bungie will not sacrifice exotics in the Taken King, because the best example of what would happen if they didn't do it would be the Hawkmoon. Xbox players are getting their very first taste of the Hawkmoon during the Taken King. So you can only imagine how pissed they will be if they get a Hawkmoon only to be told it's never going to do enough damage. Bitch, please, exotics are upgrading no matter what. And we'll keep our Gallahorns, we'll keep our Icebreakers, and all that other shit they recently nerfed to crap. The issue is going to be with the legendary weapons, and you can break them out into 3 separate categories in order to understand how different they all are. You have legendary vendor weapons, which include Dead Orbit, Vanguard, Crucible, the Queef weapons, although you can't actually buy those shits from her, you can only get them from that bullshit Prison of Elders, whatever, man. And the other 2 that you're going to have will be the raid or arena weapons, and for all intents and purposes, I'm just going to call them raid weapons and lump the Prison of Elders into that category. These are the weapons that you can only get through the endgame content. And finally, Crucible only weapons, which includes the Iron Banner or the Trials. And I know that those 12 legendary Crucible weapons that you could get drops from in games like right now, like, you know, the Matador, Low Grade Humility, Ash Factory, whatever the hell, but I will consider them vendor weapons for the sake of this argument. I have no issue whatsoever with vendor weapons not being upgradable, and this includes some of my favorites, like the Zombie Apocalypse, Shadow Price, for those that remember how amazing that gun was when the auto rifles were the shit, scout rifles with Firefly on them, all of those shits. I have no issue with them being not upgradable. As sad as it is to see them go, I can acknowledge that a much higher level cap will need some casualties in order to produce gameplay. That leaves the endgame co-op and Crucible weapons. Vault of Glass, Crota's End, Prison of Elders, Trials of Osiris, and Iron Banner. Let's start with the Iron Banner first. There are 2 weapons in there that cause a lot of anger. Aphrodite's Spear and Fellwinter's Lie. Because these 2 guns have the ability to be re-rolled with perks that annoy the shit out of people, Final Round and Hammerforge, I have a feeling that the old Iron Banner guns will never have the ability to ascend. In order to keep the Iron Banner relevant, Bungie will only allow weapons to reach the 500 level damage cap, or whatever it is. Like I said, I'm just going with level 50 for now. But the only way you can get there is by obtaining new weapons. Yes, you can get a 500 damage weapon, buy it, and grind and play that shit all over again. And in doing so, since newer weapons will obviously have the older perks removed, all the Aphrodite Spears will no longer have Final Round, all Fellwinters will no longer have Hammerforge. So if you want those perks, sure, you can keep your old 365 damage weapons. However, they're going to be pointless in Crucible matches where level damages are implemented. Essentially, it's Bungie's way of phasing that shit out completely. Don't allow the guns to ascend. However, you can let them buy and re-earn all of those 500 damage level weapons in the Iron Banner once more. Since Bungie has shown they will have different armor in the Iron Banner again, basically making the most recent shit we grinded for useless, it shows that they really have no issues changing out their entire Iron Banner inventory just to make it seem like we're getting something new. I expect that to happen to all of these guns. No Ascension, unless they come out with a brand new whole different set of weapons. Instead of Fellwinter's Lie, maybe it'll be Aphrodite's Lie. Who knows? We'll see what the fuck happens. Trials of Osiris weapons will need some sort of update as well. And the most likely scenario is that Bungie will remove all the 365 damage weapons as rewards and replace them with 500 damage weapons, similar to what's going to happen in the Iron Banner. The good thing about the Trials of Osiris weapons, though, is that the perks are not ridiculously overpowered. There's no Final Round Sniper, there's no Ultra Range Shotgun. The Messenger's pretty badass, though, and that's a top-notch weapon to have. But there's nothing to phase out. Not to mention, the Year 2 players still need weapons to bridge that gap from the level that they're going to have to play in. So here's what I would do. Replacing all the 365 weapons with 500 damage level weapons and armor makes sense. I have no issue with that. But I shouldn't have to wait all of that shit out again and keep doing that each fucking time a DLC pack releases. Much like Etheric Light, I think they should have something like Light of Osiris, an item only meant for Trials guns and gears. The Light of Osiris will allow you the ability to upgrade your weapons and armor to the maximum damage level. However, it only allows you the ability to break through the level damage barrier. When you earn a Light of Osiris, you can apply that to any gun or armor, which will allow you the ability to rank up past 365. From there, you will still have to grind XP for that weapon to upgrade. You won't lose your perks like that fucking Dark Below bullshit where you had to re-level all your exotics from scratch. No. You keep your perks. Essentially what you're doing is trying to upgrade the damage level that your gun can achieve. However, you're going to have to grind all of that XP out to go from 365 all the way to 500. As you level up, you'll notice that you hit the higher damage levels. 375, 400, 425, 450, 475, whatever. You get the idea. Same with the armor. Boosting up your rank to get even higher by using the Light of Osiris coin to open up the level of Ascension to your weapon or armor. To earn the Light of Osiris, you can get it only from the gold package. It's 100% guaranteed. Lighthouse may give you another one, but it's the gold package that is guaranteed as a reward for the Light of Osiris. Now remember, that's just ranking up for your guns and shit like that. You can still earn a new weapon per week, you can get all your wins, you can buy an opportunity to buy a 500 level Eye of Soul or 500 level pair of boots or whatever the fuck it is. So there's at least a path to upgrade your weapons, as well as the opportunity to just buy the higher level item and rank that shit all over again. Now, when it comes to the raid weapons, this is where things will be a little different. Right now, the older raids were capped out at levels 30 and 33 with the Prison of Elders at 35. And the Taken King, Bungie should bump all raid levels up to 50. Again, that's assuming that's the level cap. Vault of Glass Hard will be on level 50. Crota will be on level 50, with enemies being level 51 or whatever. You could just have Crota and Atheon be one level higher and take more damage. I really don't give a shit. And if Bungie really wanted to make people lose their shit, they could implement some kind of Taken army storylines into the raids and the prison. Oryx is harnessing the power of the Vex, and there are now Taken enemies in the Vault of Glass now. Crota is resurrected by his dad, and now has a Taken army to protect his stupid ass at level 50. Skolas and the Fallen Army could have some tweaks or whatever the hell elements of the Taken King added to that shit, but you can at least bump that sucker up to level 50 as well. Much like Trials, you will have new guns that drop. You will get your 500 Fatebringer, you will get a 500 Fang, 500 Shankburn Rocket from the prison. Holy shit, Bungie, really? Can you please fucking fix that? If you're gonna steal my fucking ideas, the least you can do is make the Prison of Weapons Elders fucking relevant again. Really, man? Do we really need fucking more damage to Shanks? I ain't getting into that shit, man. Now, because each weapon is now unique, because each weapon is part of the Taken King experience, the only way to get these new weapons and armor is to play the new levels of the raid all over again. Yep, there will be no upgrade path for your raid weapons, because each one of these glorious weapons will now be replaced by a newer version to match the new content. You can keep your 365 vision and Black Hammer, those will be great for the older raids at the lower level, but in order to experience everything the Taken King has, in order to experience everything that Oryx is doing to the game, each raid would have to be redesigned to add newer elements to them, and the rewards will have to match that. And hopefully Bungie learns that the Vault of Glass drop rate was fucking awful, and they invested in a better strategy to get those items. The Prison of Elders way sucked, where you're basically buying crap with armor cores, but something between Crota logic, where certain pieces will always fall in a certain section, and the Prison of Elders vendor purchase would actually be nice. So there you have it. This is how Bungie can tie everything together. Leave the vendor weapons behind, Queef, New Monarchy, Crucible, whatever the fuck. Let these new Foundry weapons take over those spots in the inventory. Iron Banner weapons will have to be earned all over again. No upgrade path for the Iron Banner weapons at all, and the armor's all being placed by new cosmetic shit anyways. Trials weapons will have a path to upgrade, as long as you continue to play the Trials. Earn your Light of Osiris coins for the ability to unlock the full potential of your weapon, and then rank that sucker up from level 365. No need to re-level all your perks. You keep your perks. All you're doing is ranking up the damage. And the raid gear will have no true path for upgrade. Instead, a level 50 Taken themed raid will replace the old one, offering you a chance at replacing your old shit with newer ones at the new damage cap. It then keeps the Vault of Glass, Crota, and Prison of Elders relevant, and allows us the ability to keep playing these areas with new friends and searching more challenges. Now, what are the chances of all this happening? I say I have a better chance of fucking Princess Kate in the ass with Alicia Keys serenading me in the background. But it shows that fans alone probably have better ideas than the whole entire overpaid, underachieving staff that Bungie has creating this fucking game. Yes, that includes you, Luke the Asshat Smith. So anyways, that was my full idea on how Bungie could get this shit together. Highly doubt we're going to see any of this, because you know why? It makes sense. And Bungie does everything that doesn't make sense. As always, rate, comment, subscribe, and all that good shit. And I'll see you guys in the next video.